Hello, I'm FKX Toycat, and welcome back to an episode of the Minecraft Bedrock Update Adventures Let's Play. Today I have an important decision to make, and that important decision involves sheep. Which sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, after I've sheared them, this will all make sense. Because this is my ancient city that I've spent over 12 hours trying to replicate block by block. I think we've got something kind of nice right here. However, you might notice that this is the old ancient city, the one they revealed at Minecraft Live in 2021. However, in the last few weeks, they've made quite a few changes to the ancient cities, and now they look like this. That's right, we now have to basically make a decision as to whether our ancient city is going to look like the old type or the new type. And there's a lot of arguments in kind of favor of both sides. I could really see the argument that why have a structure that never truly existed outside of betas, but also I see a pretty decent argument that actually it'd be kind of cool to have this historical record of what ancient cities did look like. And so this is going to be an ancient city build that's going to be smaller than a regular ancient city because it's going to be scaled down compared to the finished version, and it's also going to be a type of ancient city that never really existed, which is kind of fun. This is going to be a true build of a Minecraft Live ancient city versus a real ancient city. And so that's the thing I'm going to be working on today, hopefully while avoiding slimes. But yeah, I'm going to be building a type of structure that will never actually exist in regular Minecraft. There's going to be a lot of fun elements of this, and we're of course going to be working on all sorts of strange things. However, the first one is taking this cave and making it truly flat. I figured it might be fun to keep some of the cave's natural shape. However, because we have a flat ceiling, because of the flattening of the world, I figured it'd actually be kind of fun if the roof and the floor of this cave were perfectly flat, despite the really nicely contoured edges we see elsewhere. And so we're going to be placing a lot of cobbled deep slate to fill this area up, but it should be a nice first step in making sure that we actually make a space that looks like an ancient city. There's a lot that we need to work on today, but that's the fun of the Let's Play, because you're going to be seeing as we work on, I guess, whatever this is. Again, it's one of the ugly areas that we need to like conform into the area a little bit, and we're going to be doing the exact opposite over here, because I was going to keep the original shape of the cave, but I've decided to just flatten it out entirely, and so I'm going, because the ceiling's already flat, and although the walls have enough shape to them to kind of bring things together, I feel as though the floor and the ceiling being flat actually adds something kind of mega project-y to this. So I'm going to be flattening this entire cave out. Of course, as we do so, I need to make some regular exceptions for torches. For now, we'll place these up here, but because they're half slabs, what we can actually do is we can place them below this, and it will manage to light the place up just as much because they're half slabs on the bottom half, which means light will actually be able to go through them, which is a very handy way to keep the world lit. Also, I found a whole chest, a whole shulker box that I just didn't realize was here. So that's useful. We'll be able to pick up some quartz as we go around this place, which apparently has been left to grow for quite some time. Yay, some quartz. That's a nice bonus. Honestly, I mostly just enjoyed the noises as we stumbled around this place. But I can't get too distracted. We've got a very big project on our hands today. There is a lot of this cave that needs to be flattened out, and so let's get right back to that. In case you're a little skeptical of the torch thing, by the way, here you can see there is no light source around. It's just the torches from below. This is one of my favorite lighting techniques, because obviously using half slabs is also very useful because it stops mobs from spawning here, which just makes the whole cave a much more pleasant place. And also, it makes it look like it's part of an ancient city, which does have a flat floor, as I really should have realized before just now is actually one of the reasons we should do this. I thought it would just look interesting, but it's actually important if we're trying to make a faithful recreation, because the ancient city is flat. How did I not realize that till just now? I don't know, but what matters is we're flattening it right now. And now we have a flat cave. It's nice, and we have something which we can build on top of. However, we also have to start building these little connective hallways, because just being able to see Bear Cave in every direction is starting to ruin some of the vibe of this highly crafted interior, and so we need to make sure that each of these hallways actually goes somewhere and is properly built in each direction rather than just being grey carpet to nowhere. So let's do that. It's a really weird layout, the ancient cities. It's made of like deep slate tiles on the bottom layer, and then we switch out to deep slate bricks, I want to say. Well, they're not over here. Then we switch out to deep slate bricks. There's a lot of deep slate blocks, huh? And then from deep slate blocks made from brick, we go back to tiles. And then after tiles, it's another layer of bricks. And then after the bricks, which we're going to have to now stack ourselves up to, then there is a layer of the polished deep slate. Honestly, it is kind of impressive how they make this look kind of natural, even though there's a lot going on here. But this is the pattern we now have to repeat, I think, for at least one of the sides, all the way around each of our pathways. So let's do that now. I had to craft myself some more soul lanterns, but as you can see on both sides, we now have these somewhat complete corridors. They're actually corridors that go to nowhere and feel a little bit strange around the edges, but we have something that is complete and concrete, which can be worked around later, which is nice. And so yeah, I guess this is really what we have to do for the entire build. Just look at every single element and say like, well, should that really be that? Like, is this block meant to be that? We gotta look at every single element in the build and say, okay, what is clearly missing? And in this case, we have to mine out a substantial portion of the ceiling to make room for the portal. But you know what's easier than that? The little sideways structure and that makes a big trench around here. I think we could do that in a little bit less time than it will take to mine out all of that. And so let's do it. Let's make that happen. I'm so used to the super flat that I immediately ran over to trade with the Wandering Trader without realizing that this is what he offers. If you're not playing a dumb survival challenge, the Wandering Trader is useless, but I do have to admit, you know, sometimes we are doing dumb survival challenges, so I hate him slightly less than I used to. Anyway, so yeah, the plan is we're gonna have like big hallways going both directions. I think it's deep slate tiles going this way, with some stairs going down here and there, and then some deep slate tiles going this way, also some stairs that lead you to the trench. And let's see how well this goes for us. Okay, after looking around at an ancient city, I realized there are so many tiles required for this part, so we go back to our almighty collection of shulker boxes. Honestly, this is one of the reasons why I need to finish projects. I leave like 5 or 6 shulker boxes just filled with various ingredients, just lying around at every single point in the, you know, like there's so many of these just sitting here, and it genuinely is an issue for me. And so I guess, really, I'm only finishing these projects so I can get my shulker boxes back. And yeah, I figured giving you a little bit of a look into what it actually takes on something this big might be kind of fun in the Let's Play format, as opposed to the whole, like, crunching 12 hours down into 20 minutes format. Maybe you like it more. Maybe you like it less, honestly. It's funny, actually. I have been receiving a lot more comments about the Let's Play. So I think there's chiseled blocks down here. For now, we'll just place over that. And then it's like 2 staircases out. And then after the 2 staircases out, it's like 2 staircases in, because, you know, these are constructed from just very strange looking blocks. But yeah, I think it might be an interesting time to talk about something which I guess not many YouTubers will talk about, because it is, yeah, there's this inherent kind of thing that you have to say at all times, with no exceptions, that everything you're doing, you're just doing just because, you know, there's no reception to, you know, you have to pretend you're listening to the viewers all the time, and every single thing you do is influenced by them. But also, you know, that's not a way to run any business. But in particular, that's not a way to run a YouTube channel, because, you know, in the entertainment world, your goal is mostly to appeal to people who don't want to have to think precisely about what they want to watch. They just want to have it, you know, arrive to them in a weird way. And so, yeah, the reason I bring that up is because the Let's Play gets 2 types of comments, I would say. One is, why isn't this one as long as I'd like? And the other one is, I wish this was a shorter Let's Play so I could watch it all. And there's this funny thing about the comment of, like, a comment suggesting, like, I wish this was shorter, is really just saying, you made this too long. You should have cut far more than you did. What's wrong with you, man? Like, in simpler terms. And it's a pretty valid criticism. Like, yeah, sometimes you're watching a video and you feel like there's too many things in there that really could have done without being in there. Also, I think it's only 4 blocks down to this, like, area in between this and that, so I think we'll leave it at 4 stairs in each direction. But yeah, there is a real element of that. Like, right now, why are you watching me individually, painstakingly place each of these when we could be doing it faster? And I think that's the ultimate, like, challenge, is working out how much of anything in life needs to be condensed, and how much works better in its full form. There is a real beauty to this uncut nature of things, but there's also a beauty in just being able to watch something quickly, getting it all digested as fast as you can. And, you know, people like the idea of, like, effort and, you know, like, quality or whatever else. And so, yeah, things are strange with a Let's Play in that way, because you know, having people say both sides of the spectrum means you are inherently going to make someone unhappy no matter what you do. But I feel as though kind of like giving you just an insight as to what big thing I'm working on at a given point in time might be a fun place for the Let's Play to hang out for a bit. And so that's where it shall be hanging out indeed. Also, this wall is going to come really close to this. Do you think that's going to look okay if we do that? Because it's a lot of bricks, and then after we place the bricks, it's a lot of tiles. But does it look just fine from over here? Let's find it. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think it's helping to frame the portal a little bit. On the right side, it's going to be an issue because we are just going to build straight into a wall. But again, we'll cross this bridge of, like, if that needs to look better when we come to it. For now, we're trying to contour as much into the world as possible because I spent so many hours just digging out holes. You maybe can't see it as much over here, where I'm still digging out the hole, but you can see that the reason this is a, you know, project which has taken multiple 2-hour streams is because of the fact that, yeah, this used to be all the way up there, and I dug it out just because I figured it might help with slime spawning. You know, it's no exaggeration to say that this world has so many issues solely because of the fact that slimes spawned far too much in 1.18. But anyway, I digress. Let's now make this little thing right here repeat across all of this until we have a lovely wall that actually looks like an ancient city. So yeah, the pattern we're going to be using for this, just to replace these with the chiseled blocks they should have been. Again, lots of variants of deep slate. It's kind of uncomfortable building with this many because we have to keep so much clutter in our inventory. But one of the cool things we get to do is this. So at the very edge of this, just over here, I'm going to guess, we place 2 of these chiseled deep slates. Again, block we're not really getting to use too much of, so it's fun too. Then we have the this kind of making a weird pattern. I actually kind of like this. Then we're using for the first time also a deep slate tile wall. There's just a single one of these in between each of these to kind of connect things up. Then the wall itself is made from deep slate tiles in these little corners right here. So we switch out blocks again. Honestly, this is the project that has convinced me more than anything else I've ever done that pick block is the world's most useful tool. Just being able to switch up and grab another block that you need. This is the world's best advertisement for please use pick block more. You'll save yourself a lot of pain. And so yeah, we're gonna mix in with the blocks of because obviously using too many bricks in a row gets kind of monotonous, tedious. We need to make sure we break it up with some of this every now and then, just a few blocks of that, and then we also throw some tile stairs in there. Honestly, the ancient city is just designed to look as confusing and filled with weird, out-of-place blocks and missing blocks and everything like that as possible, which is strange, but we're fine with that. We can work with strange blocks that just kind of repeat in a row. And so that's what we repeat now, this exact pattern in both directions. And so we'll go from, I love doing this. This is my favorite cut that I feel like no one appreciates. But we go over the power of editing from looking like this to looking like this. Yeah, that is a much better kind of end to this hallway. You don't see the open-ended cave that looks like something is missing. It looks like there really is going to be something big up there. But without that something big, this is really lacking. Like, obviously this is the bottom half of a, ancient city portal. I think we need to do two key things. We need to have the big towers, and we need to build a portal, and then we've got all the distinctive features we need. Again, we can start to expand from there, but something that I really, again, as I work on more and more big things that, like, take a lot of motivation to get them over the finish line, which is why, by the way, not every Let's Play can have, here is 20 seconds of video for every 20 minutes of work. Like, it creates, also, that was terrible, but it worked. It creates a much, I guess, less coherent, less frequent, and also, harder to pull off and put together kind of thing. There's an interesting thing with basically every piece of content. If you're expecting it from one person, it's the balance between quality and quantity, right? And everyone says all the time, all I want in the world is quality. But me personally, I genuinely think there is a real part of, actually, no. I want but I want the highest quantity possible too. And everyone else thinks this too, but they'll say, yeah, between quality and quantity, I pick quality every time. But that's not actually how it is. I mean, the fact that all-you-can-eat buffets exist is all the proof you need in the world that this just isn't true. And the reason we're coming back to our base, by the way, is because I believe I've got some redstone lamps, because for some reason this city has some ancient we don't think about it too hard. We're just gonna grab 4 of these and take them back with us. We're just gonna grab 4 of these and take them back with us. And I guess also shear the sheep while we're here, because we're running really low on that wool. Yeah, we might have to stand around for a bit while they regrow it. But yeah, it's really funny to me that people say that quality over quantity all of the time, when there is so many things that point to the contrary. I mean, the existence of all-you-can-eat buffets. Or, another fun example is the average home in the United States costs this much. It costs this much in the UK. It's substantially more. Although, in reality, a lot of that is land prices, which also means that the average home is much bigger in the United States. However, it's bigger, and so you've got this big... same with vehicles, right? Bigger, but not necessarily of better quality. People love quantity because quantity feels like a type of quality. Having lots of something is a quality in and of itself. Having a giant, I could be wrong about this, but I've heard Americans call these like cookie cutter giant houses McMansions, right? Because it's like, yeah, they're literally, if everyone has a mansion, does everyone have a mansion? Not really, right? There's something about, there's something about quantity which is not as good as quality in terms of, everyone can't have something that is of some amount of quality. What I'm trying to say right here is there is this interesting thing that I take from the very existence of the term McMansion, which is the basic implication of what I said, that there is a distinct gap in people's brains between quality and quantity, and that if there is lots of something, it is almost guaranteed not to be of quality, and yet we want it anyway. Yet we love this because, as it turns out, that's not the most important thing to us. I think there's also another thing in there, which is this element of that if everything is something, then nothing is really that thing. If you're really, really nice to everyone all of the time, are you actually exactly the same amount of nice? Is that the nicest way to be? Or is the nicest way to be when you're a real, Scrooge, terrible person to everyone besides the one person you care about the most, Is conditional love a better thing than non-conditional? I guess there's lots of fun ways you could kind of lay this up. Also, it's literally going to cover the floor here in random blocks. Actually, I think it's random blocks mixed in with the cobbled deep slate. So we now dig this down, make a lovely trench, And then from the trench, we fill it in with bricks and cobbled deep slate until we call it a day. Does that sound good? So now we enter into the destruction phase of the project, which is funny because we're just out the range of the beacon over here. Do we have to like walk back and forth to get it? Let's see if we can do that actually. Let's dig some blocks here, and then that way we can run, get within range of the beacon. Okay, there we go. And every time we run out of beacon, we just run straight back here. This is a this is a foolproof plan. Nothing can go wrong with it. So we pull out the Silk Touch Efficiency 5 pick for this. We'll mine through here, and let's go. Let's go. Sprint, sprint, sprint. Look how much faster it is. Do you like this? Do you love how much faster I am with haste? Actually, let's see if you can even notice when it goes away. Realistically, you can't really, right? It's a 40% bonus, but it's not the biggest of things. So, okay, this is something unrelated to the video, but it's something that bothers me, so we're going to talk about it anyway. Every single time I do any project anywhere, people get very upset with me for not having a haste beacon nearby. And I think that there's two problems with that. One is that, like I said, like it's not the biggest of differences anyway. And the other is the fact that like it makes starting a project so much more cumbersome. If every time you want to do any bit of work on it, you've got to have a beacon right there. Or you could just kill the wither enough times that you have a beacon next to every project. But it's also just like, okay, how about we don't do that? Because I've shown the evidence that says that, yeah, just doing the edge of the block mining is actually a faster way than using a beacon. But people still say like, but it's faster and it looks, you know, and don't you want to do this the most effective way? And I do think that is a funny Minecraft-esque only problem. Like, no other game has this thing where people say, there is only one way to do something, and it is the most efficient way between A and B. But because Minecraft, should we just throw away the shears? Let's just do it. You know, I value this torch more than I value the shears. So let's throw it away. Replace the torch, like, up here somewhere. Minecraft is the only game where people have this giant thing about, like, you have to do it the most efficient way, otherwise what's the point? You know, that face from that meme. That's like actually how a lot of people in the Minecraft world are, because there is a big world of Minecraft about optimization. Like, unlike most games where like you're inherently playing to have fun and that means doing it however you want. That is what you should be doing in Minecraft, but there's also a whole other element of like, okay, the way you have fun is by optimizing everything perfectly. You have the perfectly optimized farm, which produces the perfect number of resources, and so then you perfectly place them in the perfect grid, you know, like the way that I mine by going like, okay, mine a block here, mine a block there, etc. I have noticed that drives people a little bit crazy. Apologies for that. So yeah, the reason we're doing this now, by the way, is to fill it in with some bricks, or probably we'll use tiles, honestly, or polished. Yeah, we'll use polished deep slate. There's not enough of that around here. Wait, never mind. I just realized I took 57 grey wool with me over here earlier, which means I finally have the wool that I actually need to place the carpets between things and make these walls like they've got to be. That is a big relief. Also, I've got an empty shulker box in my inventory, which I'm going to fill with all of the Actually, should I just stop using a Silk Touch pickaxe? I think we should. Again, this is me switching from something efficient to something less efficient. But I think we should just start using our regular old pickaxes, because cobbled deep slate is so much more useful than regular deep slate. So we're making sure we use the non-Silk Touch pickaxe here, which is the exact opposite of what you do with cobblestone, but I digress. And let's keep on mining this little hole right here. And now, let's also take advantage of something fun, which is being able to make proper pathways along this like we want to. Ooh, yeah. Do you like my grey wool? I like my grey wool. Very fun stuff. But yeah, there's an interesting element of the Minecraft community that is like this. And I think it's one of those things I really, you know, in general, I think it's nice to be friendly to more people, to say, yeah, you know, like, everyone is, you know, good and great in this way. But I think that it's perfectly fine to have your own preference for what you do in Minecraft. But the moment you start telling other people exactly how they should play the game, particularly in a public fashion, right? Because telling someone what to do in private is you know, I guess it's got some, you know, connotations of rude sometimes, but it's mostly just like, oh yeah, here's this thing you might not have known. But there's also, if you're trying to very publicly shame or do whatever with someone else, that's not trying to help them out. That is insisting that you do something better than them. And so, you know what? I think it's like totally great and fine to love everyone and anyone all the time, etc. However, big exception is going to be like, if you're like, if your one thing is to tell people that they have to play exactly the way you do, then that's not great. It's funny because I love to make videos like riffing on this concept and being like, here are the only ways you can play Minecraft. Are you using blast furnaces instead of campfires? Then you are wrong and you will be executed publicly. Because it's my favorite like way to riff on that exact same concept, right? Is that like, yeah, you want to play games the way you want to play them? No, you play games the way that pleases me. Thank you very much. Also, this trench looks very strange right now. I think we have to build these walls first. So, I guess let's replace a lot of these blocks, fill in the gaps, and also make a wall on the left and right. But yeah, the reason that this all, kind of ties in to my point about, like we like the quantity quality thing, is that everyone does actually have a different point on that curve where they appeal. If your time is the most limited thing to you, and that is the big limiting factor on everything, of course you're going to have a slightly different preference to someone whose biggest, limiting factor might be, instead money, or might be instead, ability to do a thing. And I don't know, I think about all the time about this, things that we all say, even though a lot of us think the opposite. And the quantity quality thing is a big example. And the other thing though is like, oh yeah, everyone should be loved. But I think there is an element of that where you have to decide like, okay, but who's the... we all do this when we say we don't, and we're all like, oh yeah, I would never do that. Everyone has this same thing they do anyway, which is like in-group, out-group. There are the people in the in-group, the good people that we know and love and agree with, etc., etc. And then there are, maybe the not so good people. Then there's the people we all go, ooh, who are they? Also, I know crafting is the worst way to... I should have used the stonecutter, but I feel as though in this case... See, that was me doing an inefficient thing. Do you like that right there? One of the big things that always confused me when I was younger is this big and very noticeable difference between what we say and what we do. I guess it shouldn't be that surprising. The older I get, the more I start to realize that just, yeah, people, we like to believe better than we are. We're still monkeys, and we're still, like chimps and apes or whatever animal you want to believe. We're still like that in terms of our biology, but we have the ability to create ideas that are so much better than ourselves. So we like to believe in a more utopian version of existence than what we can create, which is almost the ultimate tragedy of the way that we live, in my opinion, is that we all aspire to things that we also all know that we won't achieve. Almost brutal when I say it that way, I feel like. But it's also a little bit beautiful that we want to do... Okay, so this is what they look like, by the way, the little towers, I think. Let's confirm. Yeah, it needs to be lit up. We have a serious, lack of light sources around here. Maybe I should just put some more skylights in, just to help ease that down. Because with that not being lit, it's just so dark. Maybe we should just place secret torches in each of the top of these. But yeah, now we can repeat that 3 more times, which will be fun. Get these extra lanterns out there. But yeah, I feel as though the actual big conflict inside of humanity as a whole is the gap between what we aspire to be and what we are. And then there's the bigger question of well, should we make rules for ourselves, or even for others if we go a little bit further? Should we make rules based on what we want to be or what we are? And that single question, I think, is what drives almost all of the conflict in the world. Because, whether it's, talking about what things should be legalized, it's like the e-scooter thing, right? Yeah, you see, you came to a Toy Cat video where the Let's Play, really the one defining thing about it is that we now talk about what's been going on in the past week, which I don't think we've gotten to. But you come here, and you figured we wouldn't talk about taxes or e-scooters. Wow, can't believe you. But there is a very interesting point in here, right? About how you can argue when it comes to them that we should have pure safety on the road. There is this form of transport. Let me tell you about it right now. There's this form of transport, and you might not believe this, but actually it's true. The people who use this form of transport sometimes will get into accidents that sometimes can be quite deadly. What if we could just stop them, all those accidents, by saying, yeah, we will ban this dangerous device from the roads. And so that's what some people say with regards to e-scooters. Like, well, if we ban them, we can stop all the accidents with them. Then other people say, well, you know, we like the idea of aspiring to a world. Or, you know, same with, like to a lesser extent, people don't really do it so much. But think about cars, right? If we banned cars tomorrow, how many lives would we save? The answer is actually very measurable. It's something like 35,000 every single year. You know, people have proposed a lot more drastic things over a lot fewer lives. But then also, the reason that we don't do that is because we realize, well, not everyone has an immediate alternative, and people rely on those things for a lot more. And so even though we'd like to be a world that doesn't kill people, yeah, we'd like to be in a world, or, you know, even just something like, what if we made it way harder to be able to drive one of these cars? If you want to drive the death vehicle, you've got to be very, very certain that you won't. Even making it just harder to get one, also does the same thing, where a significant number of people now cannot do, cannot go about their life in the way that they intend to. But is that, surely that should be a worthwhile trade-off. And in the case of cars, we say no. In the case of other things, we say yes. Depending at the point in time we're in, I'd say a big part of it depends on, like, the amount of prosperity that's in the world. If we're doing pretty well, we can start to think about things as like, yeah, we can all do what we want, man. And when things are not going so well, we're like, no, we need to do better. And yeah, this difference in thinking between when times are good and when times aren't is what leads to so many of the weirdest, like, almost hypocritical, in fact, not even almost hypocritical, just straight up hypocritical laws and things that exist. And that's also the difference in culture and timing is also why I can make fun of the size of American houses. And you know, the McMansion is just such a funny phrase to me. Like, you know, like the idea that something as large as a mansion, which to most people's mind, right, invokes this, like, you know, like extra type of wealthy where you've got like a butler and everything, or, you know, it just means that you have, you know, a couple $100,000 in the right area for the United States. There's something beautiful about that to me. Or maybe there's not. Maybe it's all something else. Anyway, so during the Let's Play, we not only work on things like building this deep, dark, ancient city. I need to get used to calling it the right thing, by the way. But also, as well as talking about structures using the wrong names, what I like to also do during these videos is talk about what I've been up to in the past week. Because I don't have a vlog series on this channel, and a lot of people are curious about what's going on in the Toy Cat world. And I feel as though, especially in the last few weeks, we've gone very heavy on the news. Like, it wasn't an intention of mine, and I feel like this deep... I want to describe it as guilt, like about, oh yeah, I've made too many news videos. Like or too many news-related videos. I don't like to talk... Like, I like to talk about upcoming updates. That's one of the things that excites me in Minecraft. I think you're all probably aware of this fact by now. If you're not, wow, shocker, Toy Cat finds updates interesting. You know, more news at 11 or whatever. Also, I think we ran out of bricks, so let's go get some more of those too. Or, I guess we could just combine some together. Yeah, let's do that. We need the bricks. Well, also, wait, we need to make... so if you'd make slabs... You can make polished deep slate, right? How do you make is it tile? We need to make tile slabs. How do we chisel deep slate? I actually don't know anymore. We need to make these. What is the rest? I guess we'll just type it in. This is the beautiful thing about Bedrock, by the way. Well, apparently it's not. You just gotta, so it's cobbled deep slate. Okay, well, we'll throw these on the ground somewhere. Or we'll just, okay, you know what? Just for fun, this is the sort of person I am. Like, rather than just getting rid of something, I'll, like, find an excuse to use them somewhere. So I've got a ton of half slabs over here. And if I just... Oh, if I place down a slab, though, it'll go on the wrong part because of that. And it makes that weird gap. Okay, we'll find another place where these go. Like, around here, maybe. That also doesn't work. Maybe just over here to, like, get rid of some monotony. There we go. On the ceiling, just like because the whole point of these structures is to seem slightly ruined. I think adding these, like, slabs every now and then is gonna do something for us. I don't know what that something is, but there we go. I crafted these blocks by accident, and now there's some extra slabs around the place. Same with the polished deep slate, right? Let's just throw them around. This area here is particularly ugly. Could do with a destruction. Or maybe could just do with the right amount of of slabbertinging. Slabbertinging is a word, by the way, trust me. There we go. Look how nice that looks. Yeah, that's how arbitrary building is sometimes. But no, what's been going on in my life in the past week? There was a bank holiday I didn't know about. Honestly, the very concept. Okay, so it was. I actually learned it was May Day, but May Day is the festival name. The reason that May Day is a holiday is because it's International Workers' Day. So last week it was International Workers' Day. If you didn't know somehow, wow, can't believe you. Show some solidarity with our international workers. But more seriously, yeah, it was International Workers' Day. I had no clue. Maybe I should have. Maybe that's me being a bad, hero for the labor movement or whatever else. But, which I definitely am in other contexts. Also we needed bricks. That's why we're here. But also I think now is finally the time, after all of this, that we mine this away. Yeah, I think that's what we've got to do. I think the time has come for it. Oh man, I've got a lot of blocks lying around here. It's gonna be good to finally get these are tiles, even though they're in the brick chest. Oh no, this is the brick chest. These are definitely bricks. And these are cracked bricks. And we can get some cracked bricks if I just put some deep slate in there. How did I get one cracked, yeah, I'll just take a stack of them. I'm gonna need a lot. So yeah, for the fun free-flowing portion, which I think is actually the best way to balance these Let's Plays. But it was International Workers' Day, as I was saying. International Workers' Day is an interesting thing to me because despite, first of all, it's a day that is apparently for workers, right? And in the modern age, maybe this is like, oh, rich people just do such good PR. Even like the non-proletariat, I don't see them as not working people, right? Like, if you picture a rich person, you picture like a banking magnate or a CEO or someone who earns like 30 million a year, or just someone who owns a company or something like that, right? You still picture them as working. Maybe that's just their good PR tactics. But that's the way we perceive them. That's the way I perceive them, at least. So the idea of International Workers' Day is silly because like everyone is a worker. That's just international. Screw you. If you're a pensioner or a homemaker, is that the correct? Is that the polite term? Housewife. Screw you if you're not able to work because of whatever reason. It's just like, yeah, this is for workers. Yeah, not like you. Which, again, I'm sure it was originally intended to have the connotations of workers are the proletariat, the people, whereas the greedy bankers, they don't get the day off. Although it's a bank holiday, so I guess the greedy bankers still do get the day off anyway. Everyone's a winner, really, in this one. Everyone's a winner, besides the proletariat. But, I just like saying the word the proletariat. It just feels so out of place in modern day society. Anyway, though, there's this funny thing with, okay, so now we need to take a lot of bricks and build this down so there's actually walls on both sides. That's my big next bit of this project we have to work on. Yeah, the funny thing to me, and then also both sides of this, we're going to dig out entirely and replace with stones. Just to, and then also mix in here. There's a lot of it, but it's all just destroy blocks to replace with bricks. So it's not actually much effort in my opinion. But yeah, so something that is a lot of effort, besides knowing when holidays are coming, is the fact that, yeah, like I've always found the idea of like bank holidays and national, stuff like that to be weird, because as someone who's only ever been self-employed or work for people in a role where it is basically self-employment, honestly, the idea of regular employment is such a weird thing to me. Like, how about I pay you a certain amount for every hour you show up? Even if there's nothing productive to do with your time, I'll pay you this certain amount. Even if you're doing 3 times as much work as normal, I'll pay you this much for your time. I've heard stories, from people who live in places where there's like, there's effectively a no wage if you're getting tipped for something, where they're like, yeah, sometimes I'd work 4 times as hard and I'd still get paid nothing. And sometimes I'd get paid a lot to do nothing. And it's like, wow, that's the weirdest thing to me. Just regular work is like built to uncouple the amount of productivity or the amount you get done from, the amount that gets done for other people, because the whole point of exchange of goods and services, even if you're the most non-capitalist person in the world, you'd say the reason that we have a capitalist system, the most generous interpretation, is that, yeah, it encourages people to do things for each other because we're all monkeys who can't be trusted to do it if there wasn't some incentive for ourselves. Or at the very least, we're more incentivized if, by doing nice things for you, I get nice things for me. I get to go home and pay for my internet bills so I can complain at people for not making efficient Minecraft farms. That's all I really want. But yeah, it only works myself. It's the weirdest thing. Whenever a holiday comes up, I'm like, oh, so now everything is way more busy. It often costs more. There's I went out to get some half price. I was gonna get some happy hour dim sum. It was gonna be great. I was gonna eat some good, because you know I love a good deal. That's who doesn't. I went to a place where I knew I would get quantity over quality. By the way, it was gonna be very cheap per dish. I was gonna get a lot of dishes. Was gonna leave feeling exactly whelmed. You know, it was gonna be great. And then, oh, it's a bank holiday, so promotion doesn't run. And admittedly, promotion not running isn't the same as raising your prices, except it actually is, right? I went under the premise of them being a certain price, and they realized they could not be a certain price because there are enough people. They realized they could just not be that price because, yeah, there's enough people there that they will still get business anyway. And so to me, International Workers' Day is international pay double price for your cheap but large in quantity food. And you know what? That's not very workery to me. And so yeah, same with like theme parks or planes are the worst. I hate when, or like a hotel or anything like that. Whenever there's a holiday, it just means everything is going to be worse because it's going to be busier, and there's basically nothing you can really do about that. Also, yeah, before we can do any more building, we're gonna have to destroy it to get some deep slate. I could just walk over to where my deep slate bricks are stored in a chest, but since I'm destroying this later anyway, let's get into it now, shall we? Let's build ourselves a lovely staircase out here, and let's start destroying so we can make some deep slate bricks, so we can dig our lovely trench that we're gonna do before the end of today. Because I like this Let's Play format where we mix in like the high, you know, like lots of work being done, but also so we can have the opportunity to talk about, yeah, what's been going on. I didn't get half price food because International Workers' Day, which by the way, if it's meant to be this holiday for all working people, I'd like to just mention it's failed because there were people working at the place that was half price. In fact, I didn't go, by the way, in case you're curious. I was so outraged that I went somewhere else that was so empty. It was like suspiciously empty. It was like clearly meant for over 100 people, and it was just me there. Which I love. A lot of people have this like, oh god, oh god, oh gosh. A lot of people have this like notion that somewhere has to be busy for it to be good. I have the exact, I don't think I've ever disagreed with something more than the words I just said. To me, that is the biggest horrifying thing in the world. Like, something being busy is how you know it's terrible. That's why the whole like pandemic thing was always like unnecessary to me. It's like telling me to do what I've already been doing. Like, try not to be near too many people for too long. You know, it's a polite way of saying stop hanging out in large groups of friends and coughing at each other. No more coughing parties. But instead, they worded it in such a way that makes it sound like, yeah, you know, how about don't ever see your friends and family? And we're going on so many tangents. Okay, my point, what I get up to, I didn't get half price food because it was a holiday. And again, so like, it's funny because holidays are like this great thing for some significant percent of the population who do get bank holidays off. I think it's mandatory, so I have no idea how anyone works anywhere. But it's mostly mandatory to get these days off, which is really great for everyone working them. But for me, as someone who like, you know, doesn't have the concept of holidays because I have to work for myself because that is the only way that YouTuber generally works, right? Like this, which maybe you can make some argument that like, really, I should be an employee of YouTube. Although I don't like that argument. I would disagree with you if you made it. But that's besides the point. The thing I'm trying to say of this is that, yeah, there was a holiday and it made my life worse. However, the one nice thing is that it is May Day, which is it's a festival celebration of the start of like the warm months, basically, in Europe, because you know weather is crazy here, and it also means one of the very fun things about that. Also, is cobbled deep slate not what you use to make polished deep slate anymore? Oh no, it is. So why can't I craft it in the? Maybe it's just, oh, it's in a different tab. So we'll craft polished deep slate. As much of that as we can. Let's just craft it all into it. And then we'll make some of those into bricks. There we go. Tons of bricks, we're good. And then we've also made a good start on what needs to be done as far as that destruction goes. But yeah, anyway, so there is this fun thing to me of just we there's this fun thing that when the spring begins, that you start to see like little baby animals everywhere, and something about that is just again I really enjoy it. I like seeing things that humans do done in nature, because to go back to that whole you know, the one of the reasons I think about it so much about like, you know, are humans these grand visionaries? Are we good at working out how we should all behave, or are we just all monkeys who like to pretend that we're not? And yeah, like you see like human behaviors, like amorphizing animals is cute, like seeing little mothers, seeing their boyfriends that look mildly abusive sometimes, but it's okay because it's nature. It's really cute and it's fun to see all of these things. And it's like this fun reminder to me that like, yeah, life just happens. In the real world, we come up with all these like deep mental reasons why we can or can't do something. And in nature, what happens is just like, yeah. So the swans kind of just felt like reproducing, and so they did. Oh yeah, the way it works is yeah, they decided to have 9 children. And they'll just get rid of them later this year. Like, I feel as though the nature way is so much better than what humans have evolved to. Because I'll admit, I'll be the first one to say that, like, I think abusive family situations are the worst as an end user of it. But also, like, maybe this is like you know, like something about like, you know, like if you liked your own childhood, you're more likely to want to have children, whereas if you didn't, you're not. But like, to me, like, the idea of, like, having a child, you know, like, going and having a little swan baby, which is what humans definitely do. That's definitely how it works. Having a swan baby is, like, a horrifying idea to me. Just because of the fact that, like, yeah, you have to make sure all these things that you hated don't happen to you. And it's just such a long, exhaustive list. Wouldn't it be easier if we were just like, yeah, let's just do everything, see what happens later? I feel as though it actually wouldn't be fun in that way. But I just think it's cute. I think it's a great reminder to look at nature and realize that, yeah, we build such complex systems about, like, you know, like the thing with driving. There is actually a really long, detailed process, at least in the UK and many other countries around the world, that you have to go through to be able to drive this big thing. But in reality, you know, like that is something that because we invented it in the last 100 years. But if you want to use, like, a heavy piece of machinery that can kill you, or, I don't know, is a gun a fun one, if we're talking about America? Dunking on it for some fun here. But, you know, like, you can use all sorts of, like, other things that are very dangerous to yourself, to others, that have super high responsibility levels, like the children thing. And because we have been doing that for longer, we go, oh, yeah, that's how it is. And so that's why it's funny that, like, with e-scooters, you know, people will say, like, yeah, well, clearly we should legislate the speeds. We should legislate, like, you need a license to ride one and insurance. Imagine if you hit someone on a scooter without insurance. Imagine who would pay for that. And it's like, man, we go around the world all the time. Like, you're not mandated to have personal liability insurance. If you punch, you know, a bricklayer, or, like, I don't know, let's say a bricklayer, sure. That's a real job people probably have in 2020, right? That's not a fake one. If you punch a bricklayer and then he can't work for 6 months, he can sue you for 6 months of earning. I'm assuming that's going to be like, you know, like 40 grand or something if he's working in a big city. And so most people, I can the average savings. You know, actually, yeah, Harrison, throw this on screen. What's the average saving? Average amount of savings? I bet you it's less than 40 grand. So, like, given that people are liable to punch people, every day someone gets punched. We don't say that, well, you're gonna need to make sure you have that personal liability insurance. But we would say that for a car, well, of course. What about a motorcycle? Well, I mean, yeah, you might hit someone's car, and that might, and it's like, but as a person, well, no, because, I mean, we work that out later. And I just think it's interesting that we develop systems over time that then seem out of place of our previous systems. And I don't even know if I'm making like a great commentary on whether they're good or bad, because I genuinely don't know. Like, is it progress as a species, or is it all of us just like trying to pretend? I sometimes am inclined to think it's us trying to pretend, and sometimes I think, nah, actually, it's the sign of all the great things that we do be doing. But let me know let me know what your thought is, I guess, Because same with the farm thing, like, you know, if we all could all of the time automatically know the most efficient way to do something, we probably wouldn't ever do anything inefficiently, right? Like, you know, as much as I like to pretend that, like, yeah, I like to do it inefficiently, it's more just like, I like not having to look up exactly how to do something before I do it. That, to me, is contrary to the spirit of a fun video game. Call me crazy, if you will. But yeah, to me, that is contrary to the very point, spirit, goal, idea of what we're trying to do here. So also, now we have like a few little random shapes along here. That's a 6. We'll make like a backwards B over here. There we go. You know, just throw some random blocks down. That one's definitely legit. There we go. So now we got this little trench worked out. Oh, there's something else we're missing. There's like these. There's meant to be some stairs over here. But yeah, going back to finish my grand point. I think that we are ultimately all trying to pretend. But the funny thing about pretending, the reason that like authority works. We've been watching Ozark, by the way. New season came out. Last half a season came out. You know, what is it with TV shows and being like, half a season comes out this year and another half a season comes out next year? It's like, so what you're saying, if I understand correctly, is that, you know, correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's a season coming out now, and then there is a separate season coming out later. They're like, no, it's the same season. But it's like, but it's releasing in 2 parts. I understand how TV shows work and they follow the same ideas, but it's whatever. This is one of my big pet peeves that I really don't need to dive into today. But something that I do need to dive into. Okay, so by the way, let's line this up. There's 3 blocks here. So there's 3 of these there, and then there's a block gap, and then there's 2, and then a block gap, and then 2, and so on and so forth. But yeah, one of the, which includes going around the corner, I'm gonna guess. There we go. Because this is where it's gonna start going this way. Is it? I'm not even sure if that makes sense. We're vibing right now, and sometimes you have fun when you vibe. Yeah, so I've been watching it, and so there's this like fun thing where he's like trying to establish authority. And one of the easiest ways to establish authority is like pretend you have it already, right? There's a lot of other ways. But it really is effective that like for most people, when enough people believe in something, it just becomes true. The nations of countries, right? What makes a country real? What makes, you know, I for all these references I make to the UK or to the US or to European countries or whatever else, like they're all countries. And so you just kind of inherently know, like, well, a country is like a set of people who live under one set of rules, and like, but like, you know, if everyone stopped believing in them, they would stop working. Like money, right? Money only works. The whole capitalist system that we all live and rely on, or maybe don't rely on, but the system we all live in is built upon the basis that everyone else takes this same currency that you use right now. If you wanted to skip the middleman and just start doing nice things for each other, you totally could. There's nothing stopping you from doing that right now. But most people do like currency. We all believe that it has this value, and that is what gives it its value, which is almost impossible to really properly wrap anyone's head around. Also, let's leave a few of these blocks exposed, just to like, again, add texture to the wall. Probably need to put some more deep slate tile stairs in there. But yeah, for now, I think this is pretty good. I feel as though we made some huge progress today. In just over a couple of hours, I think we've now like got most of the heavy lifting done. We've just got to do the portal. We've got to do some, like, you know, there's a big bit of destruction over here. There's definitely some contouring and some layering and some like fitting things in. And then finally we destroy the beacon and also all of those blocks. And we see what we're left with. Yeah, that's some big progress, huh? I'm excited. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the Let's Play. I am curious. Like I said before, I feel as though the Let's Play audience, one of the like few really cool, not safe, but like really interesting spaces where we can actually have a discussion and it's not crazy YouTube comment town. So I actually would love to hear what your thoughts are. Like, are we better than we like to believe? Or are we all just trying to believe because we know if we all do it long enough, then eventually it becomes true? Let me know your thoughts, but for now, I hope you all enjoyed. I hate slime so much, and I'll see you all next time, where I'll be finishing a different project. Maybe that's what I should just commit to. For 2022, how many projects can we finish? I know I'm just gonna start a new project though. Like, I've got so much deep slate lying around in chests that, like, should we just start a new project? Maybe we should. Maybe we will. Let's find out if we do next time. Goodbye.